أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله وبالله وصلى الله على محمد وآله وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد روحي وجسمي وارواح العالمين لك الفداء يا ابن رسول الله ثم السلام عليكم يا أهل العزاء الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما عندكم ينفذ وما عند الله باق ولا نجزين الذين صبروا أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات. This ayah is in Surah Nahl, and the ayah number is 96 in this surah. It's a beautiful thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us when He says that what is with you will vanish. Your wealth, your health here, all the materialistic aspect of our lives, everything that we say we own here will vanish one day. When we leave this world, we'll leave without absolutely nothing in our hands. But then He says that whatever is with Allah will remain forever. Whatever we do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can change the wealth into something that remains with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we do those things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that those things will always remain. And then He says that we will certainly bestow on those patiently, those people who persevere patience on this earth, and their reward according to the best of their actions. We will be rewarded for the actions. This particular ayah really fits into the life of Janabi Ummal Baneen. Janabi Ummal Baneen, and it is unfortunate that our communities, here and elsewhere, everywhere, do not understand or regard the importance of this lady. Fatima bint Hazm al-Kilabiyya was her name. And if you look at it, we have what is known as Babul Hawaj. These are the doors where we are asked to go and seek our tawassul. We make them our tawassul we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the wasila of these people. And they are literally known as Babul Hawaj. When the ulamas, when the scholars like Marhum Ayatullah Al-Khui, may Allah give him a place in Jannah, when you look at such personalities, they have talked quite a bit about Janab Ummul Baneen and the importance of Janab Ummul Baneen in our daily lives. For example, Janab Khui, Ayatullah Khui says that whenever I performed my salat, my shab namaz, whenever he said, not only him, but his own teacher used to say that whenever I performed my salat, I would give that salat of the night of shab as a gift to Ummul Baneen. Why do they say this? Why do the ulamas put so much importance on such personalities? Is because when they say something, it doesn't mean that they read somewhere and they decided to just tell us. It means that they actually did what they have been doing, and they have already experienced the fact that whatever they had asked from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and had given a gift to Janab Ummul Baneen, that gift was always coming true. Those du'as were always coming true for these marajas. And that is why they're saying over and over again that if you want to do a wasila, if you hold a majalis in your home and you say that I am giving this as a gift to Janab Ummul Baneen, and then ask her, through her, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will always give you that. These are Babul Hawaj. Not only that, but if I read Dua Kumail here, and I finish my dua, and I said, I'm gifting that Dua Kumail to Janab Ummul Baneen. The Marajas tell us that when you do that, ask for your dua. That Dua Kumail itself was a dua for you. And you will find out that you will be rewarded for that. If I read Surah Yasin, or if I do 2 rakat salat in the name of Janab Ummul Baneen and ask for hajat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will always accept that hajat. There are 5 Babul Hawaj. One is Hazrat Ali Asghar. Hazrat Ali Asghar's door is also known as Babul Hawaj. When we go and seek anything as a wasila outside of our imams, they are accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of their nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are so near to Allah. The second one is, of course, Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas. He is also known as Babul Hawaj. When we go to Karbala, and inshallah may Allah give this opportunity to everybody, that when you visit Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, you will not come out without visiting Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas. A door where you should go and seek whatever hajat you have, those hajats will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another one is Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil. We normally don't remember him except in the month of Al-Hajj when his shahadat comes up. Or we may remember him during the month of Muharram in the first few days. But it is important for us to know that even Muslim ibn Aqil's door is known as Babul Hawaj. Then we have the 7th Imam, Imam Musa Qazim alayhi salam. His door is also Babul Hawaj. And when we seek, we will get it. And another one is Janabi Baneen herself. And this, the ulamas have highly emphasized that you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bihaqqi Janabi Baneen, just as we sit here tonight and remember her, we ask Janabi Baneen through her wasila that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to visit the shrines of all our 14 Masumeens, inshallah. One of the unique things that ulamas also talk about is the fact that when you look at the fact that as long as Janabi Fatimatu Zahra's shrine will not be constructed, Janabi Baneen's shrine will never be constructed either. It goes hand in hand because they're both in Medina. And when it came to Janabi Baneen, she only lived for 60 years and she passed away and she was buried in the city of Medina in Jannatul Baqi. But as we remember her, we remember Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas. Whenever Hazrat Abbas's name came, we always remember Janabi Baneen to be his mother. But when you look at the life of Janabi Baneen, it is quite interesting to know, first of all, Mawla Kainat Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, he, after the death of Janabi Fatimatu Zahra salamullah alayh, he waited for 9 years before he married Baneen. In that 9 years, after the death of Janabi Fatima, she had asked Imam Ali alayhi salam that he should marry Amama. Amama was the niece of Janabi Fatimatul Zahra. She had tremendous love for the children of Janabi Fatima. And so she had asked Imam Ali that upon my death, I want you to get married to Amama. And she was a stepsister of Janabi Fatimatul Zahra. After she died, then Imam Ali married Khawla bin Ja'far. Khawla bin Ja'far was the mother of Muhammad Hanafiya. We many times hear Muhammad Hanafiya's name as being one of those who was present in Medina when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was leaving for Karbala. So he was his son. Then she passed away. Then Imam Ali alayhi salam married Asma bint Umais. This Asma bint Umais was first married to Ja'far, Imam Ali alayhi salam's brother. But Ja'far died in the Battle of Muta. When he died, she then married Abu Bakr, the Khalifa. From Abu Bakr, she got a child whose name was Muhammad al-Abu Bakr. Now, he was only 2 to 3 years of age when Abu Bakr passed away. So now this is the same lady, Asma bint Umais, who was present at the time when Janabi Fatimatul Zahra salamullah alayh was leaving this world. She was right near her bedside. And Imam Ali alayhi salam married Asma bint Umais. And he adopted this 3-year-old son of Abu Bakr and Asma bint Umais. But this Asma bint Umais was present at the time, and Muhammad was hardly 2 to 3 years of age, and he grew up with Imam Ali alayhi salam. History says that anytime anybody ever asked him, this Abu Bakr's son, that who is your father, he would say Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So he had a tremendous influence on the son. But unfortunately, today, the Muslim Ummah calls certain people's names, like Muawiyah, and say, Raziyallahu anhu. And look at what he did to Abu Bakr's son, Muhammad. This Muhammad was taken by Muawiyah's people, and they stuffed him into a stomach of a donkey. They killed him, and they put him inside the stomach of a donkey as an example of those who may stand up against Muawiyah. And then they burned this particular donkey along with Muhammad in that donkey, and he was killed that way finally. But he was still alive when they were pushing him into that donkey, and this is how they had actually killed him finally. So these were the events, and after this, then Imam Ali alayhi salam, after 9 years, goes to Masjid Nabawi to talk to Aqil. Aqil was a person who knew the genes of so many families. He was well aware of all of the different families that were living in Medina. So Imam Ali alayhi salam goes to him and asks him and says to Aqil that I want you to find me a family, not just a woman, but a family that is known as the family of the warriors. Somebody who is so strong in any kind of hunting or battle that they may have participated in. So Aqil then finds this Fatima from the tribe of Kilabiyah. And this tribe of Kilabiyah was a minority in Medina that was following Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he goes and tells Imam that you know the brothers, you know their father, and you know Janab Fatima's grandfather. They were all known to be warriors and hunters. And that is how then comes the time that Janab Baneen gets ready and be prepared to marry Imam Ali alayhi salam. Aqil goes towards the house. In the evening, Janab Fatima had a dream. In her dream, she sees 3 stars and 1 moon. And she's looking at it, and she knew that the stars were coming towards her. So when she woke up, she goes to her father, and she says, Baba, can you find out what is the meaning of this dream that I had? And so the father finds out, and the father tells her that it means that, oh Fatima, you will have 4 children, all sons. 3 will be your stars, and the 4th one will be a moon, and he will be known as Qamar Banu Hashim, which is Abul Fazl al-Abbas. So the next morning, knock comes at the door, and she opens the door, and here comes Aqil with the proposal of Mawlai Kainat Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So they decided to get married, and it was Aqil who recited the nikah of Baneen and Imam Ali alayhi salam. And after that, look at the loyalty and the honesty of this lady. When she reaches the footsteps of the house of Imam Ali alayhi salam, she says to Imam Ali that I will not enter your house until Janab Zainab gives me permission to enter. It is this respect Janab Fatima, Janab Baneen had for the children of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And so Janab Zainab gives izn dukhul, and Janabi Ummul Baneen comes in. But the first thing she does, she asks Imam Ali alayhi salam, is it okay for me to talk to all of your children? All 4 of your children. The 4 orphans were there. All the 4 children, I want to talk to them. And Imam Ali said, sure, Fatima, you can do that. So then she says to the children, she said, remember, I have not come into this home as a wife of your father, nor have I come here as a mother of you. I have come here instead just as a slave, as a kanis, to work in your house. And it was this respect that she taught her children and said that whenever you see Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, respect him, for he is one of those Ahlul Bayt that has been mentioned in the Holy Quran, in Ayat Tathir. Therefore, respect him for that. And that is why we see Hazrat Abbas's relationship with Imam Hussein in Karbala, that how closely they were related to each other. And history says that when Imam Ali Zainul Abidin left Medina and went towards Karbala in Sham and Kufa and comes back, he decided that he would take the entire caravan. And we hear this on the day of Chahlum. But he decided to have the caravan 3 days outside on the outskirts of Medina. Why? Because Imam knew that the people of Medina were totally unaware of what had transpired. And therefore, he wanted to make sure that the whole city mourns Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And that is why he stayed for 3 days on the outskirts. Then he asked Bashir ibn Jazlam, he says, Bashir, your father was a poet. And in those days, whenever some news came to the people of Medina or Mecca, they used to call out in a form of a poetry. And so therefore, your father was a poet. Therefore, Bushair, I want you to go. I want you to go and talk to the people of Medina and give them this information. So he said, Bushair says that I went from house to house in the city of Medina and gave him the news. And the news was that I have brought some very important news for you all, but I will not give that news to you except on the door of the Zari of the Holy Prophet, the door of Masjid Nabawi. He said, you'll have to come there to hear what I have to tell you. And so the people, by the time he got to the door of the Holy Prophet's qabr, he found out that entire city of Medina had gathered there. And he was about ready to tell them as to what had transpired. But then he saw a lady who was carrying a young son. You see, when it came to Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas, he lost 2 of his sons in Karbala. Muhammad and Qasim were 2 sons of Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas himself that were lost in Karbala. So imagine what Ummul Baneen had lost. She had lost her children, all 4 of her sons. She had lost 2 grandchildren in Karbala. And now she had Abul Fadl. She was carrying him. And Bushair asked somebody, who is this lady? And they said, she is the mother of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. So Ummul Baneen comes next to him and he says, what news do you have? Tell me, what happened to Hussein? And at that moment, Bushair says, I was wondering, how can I tell her about Abu Abdullah al-Hussein for whom she's asking? But first I should give her the news of her sons. So Bushair said that your son Uthman was killed. His name was Uthman not because of Uthman bin Affan, the Khalifa, because the Khalifa had died 2 years before this Uthman was born. But Uthman was the name of one of the companions of the Holy Prophet and Imam Ali, and had fought side by side with the Holy Prophet. So Imam Ali had named him Uthman. So he said Uthman was killed. And Janabi Baneen says, I did not ask you for my son Uthman. I'm asking you what happened to Hussein. At that moment, Bushair says, but you know, after Osman, your son Ja'far died. And again she says, I didn't ask you about Ja'far. He says the same thing about Abdullah, the other brother of Hazrat Abbas. And still, Ummul Baneen kept on saying, but I did not ask for my son. Then he says to her that your son Abbas was killed, and Janab Ummul Baneen said that, tell me about Hussein. I know if Abbas died, Hussein could not have died. But Bushair at that moment told the people of Medina, Hussein was killed in Medina, in Karbala. His body was left on the battlefield of Karbala, full of blood. At that moment, Janab Ummul Baneen said that, tell me, how did Abbas die? Janab Ummul Baneen was asking about Abbas at that moment, and they said that, listen, Bushair said that Hussein died after Abbas. In fact, Hussein had the head of Abbas on his lap when he died. She said, then how and why did anybody hit all of my 4 sons with a spear? Because all of the 4 sons had spears on the back, they were hit with the spears. At that moment, then Janab Ummul Baneen was told that because Abbas had lost his 2 hands, and this is the way Janab Ummul Baneen, when she heard that, and when she heard about Hussein, she left Abul Fadl on the floor and she collapsed. And then she went to Jannatul Baqi. History says that Janab Ummul Baneen made Jannatul Baqi as a Husayniyah. For it is there she used to sit and remember her 4 children. When somebody came and said, Ummul Baneen, the mother of 4 sons. It was at this time Janab Ummul Baneen told people, don't call me the mother of 4 sons. I have lost Hussein, and that to me is very, very traumatic. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. مات Hussein.